Hello again, I'm Vincent-Buys, State Representative for the 42nd District. Thank you again for joining me for my legislative update. This is our fourth week at the 105-day session, so we are roughly a quarter of the way done, but we have a lot of work ahead of us. In the time that we have been here, more than 700 bills have been introduced. That means that bills could have a hearing and pass out of committee before our state citizens even know they exist. Thankfully, my fellow Republicans and I were able to change a rule so the legislature now at least prioritizes citizen testimony. When you are able to come to Olympia to testify, you will now be given more time and be heard first. In my last video, I told you about the House Republicans' plan to change 4 rules, which includes the ones about citizen testimony I just mentioned. I believe our other 3 proposed rules were also important. One of those rules would have made the 2/3 vote to raise taxes mandatory. When this idea was proposed via initiative, voters supported it with more than 64%. However, the rule failed on a party line vote. Nobody in the majority party voted to uphold the will of the people. Another of our rules that would have ensured that each legislator received a public hearing on at least one of their bills. Each legislator represents a district of approximately 137,000 people. The majority party did not support your legislation, having at least one opportunity to represent you. At last, but not least, our final rule would have made funding education first, in its own separate budget, a requirement. The Supreme Court of Washington has told us that taking care of our children's education is our paramount duty. Obviously, the majority did not agree with the court because none of them voted to fund education first. So, unfortunately, at the end of our fight, only one of our proposals was adopted. However, Republicans did have their voice heard, and thereby your voice was heard. In order to keep you informed and aid you in making knowledgeable decisions regarding your government, I'd like to briefly tell you about some of the legislation that received a hearing in committees this week. 2 good public safety bills were heard. One would extend the statute of limitations for sexual assault or molestation of a child. If it passes, victims could report and press charges after a longer time has passed. The bill would allow victims who may not be able to face prosecuting their perpetrator at the time of the crime, out of fear or youth, to still find justice years down the road. This bill empowers victims and turns the tables on criminals so that they are the ones who need to fear repercussions. The other bill would increase the severity of punishment for criminals who break into cars to steal the contents, which usually damages the vehicle and costs the victim a lot of money. People's vehicles are often their most valuable assets besides their home. The punishment needs to match the crime for this offense. With the passage of this bill, it would. A couple of really good bills regarding water and energy usage had hearings. One of them is legislation that I sponsored. My bill would provide relief for a number of farmers in Whatcom County who have been struggling for the last 20 to 25 years to maintain their existing water rights. Working alongside farmers, water experts, and the Department of Ecology, this bill may finally provide some relief. The second bill would authorize a utility to use incremental electricity resulting from efficient improvements to meet its renewable resource requirement. This bill would help companies to meet their requirements instead of buying unnecessary energy in order to satisfy the requirement. Finally, a host of bad bills have also been heard this week. While there are too many to detail, I would like to touch on 2. One bill would broaden the Family Leave Act and require employers to pay a premium to the Employment Security Department so that they can increase their duties. This would be a new and costly mandate on businesses. In a time when our economy is suffering and we need more private employers to help provide jobs, placing yet another mandate on them is unreasonable. A second bad bill would require you to pay more for health insurance and support abortion. The bill requires all private, state-regulated health plans to provide coverage for abortions if the plan provides maternity coverage. Under Obamacare, all health plans are required to provide maternity coverage. Therefore, if this bill passes, all plans will be required to cover abortions. Not only would this law take more money from hardworking taxpayers, it's also a direct attack on religious liberty and freedom. I strongly oppose both of these bills. We'll be working to do what I can to stop their passage. If you would like any more information on these bills or others, please contact my office. Additionally, if you have ideas, questions, or concerns that you would like to share with me, please contact me. I am here to be a resource for you. I can be reached at the phone number and email listed at the bottom of your screen. I look forward to hearing from you and talking to you again soon. Thanks again for joining me.